Hello, this is Alan welcoming you to the 1968th edition of the Enfield Talking Newspaper. Dateline 28th of August 2014. The readers this week are myself, Sonia, Phil and Roz, with Ian on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Pree, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Breuer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. The local stories include Memorial should be in town where it belongs, Hard work pays off for determined GCSE pupils, and Hospital not able to cope. Before we go to the news, here's a special notice about changes to the way we bring you the Enfield Talking newspaper. As you may have heard on last week's tape, we will be changing the way we produce the Enfield Talking newspaper. After much thought and in consultation with our listeners' representatives, we have decided to stop producing ETN on cassette and move our production to memory sticks. We plan to make this transition before Christmas. Whilst this is a change which will take some time to get used to, we are confident that the use of memory sticks will allow us to improve the service we offer our listeners and make ETN more attractive to new listeners. We want to make the transition as smooth as possible, and so, between now and Christmas, we will be offering advice and support on using the new technology to those listeners who need it.
Some listeners may already receive information from other sources on memory sticks and will be confident in using them. Some listeners may have the facility to play memory sticks but not realize it. For instance, if you have a recent concerto or daisy player, you will have the facility to play memory sticks, even if you do not already receive media in this format. If you do not have the facility to play a memory stick, we are able to offer listeners an easy-to-use player device for a discounted price of £10. We will also be able to come and visit you to explain how it works. We can offer a player device on free loan to any listener in receipt of means-tested benefits. The memory sticks are simple to use and will be returned and reused each week, just as the cassettes are. Using memory sticks will allow us to provide more information each week, including recordings of national magazines from the wide selection available via the RNIB and TNAUK. In order for us to support our listeners, we would like to know who is confident in using memory sticks already and who would like to receive more advice and support.
Unfortunately, we do not have an up-to-date telephone number for all of our listeners, so it is difficult for us to contact everyone by telephone. In order that we make contact with all our listeners, this week we will be issuing a card with each tape, secured with a rubber band. If you have the facility to play a memory stick and do not require any assistance from us to play them, you can discard the card. However, if you do not have the facility to play a memory stick and would like us to contact you with more information about obtaining a player device or to arrange a home visit to demonstrate the new technology, please return the card to us with your tape. Alternatively, if you prefer, please feel free to contact us directly with any questions or queries about using memory sticks. Your listener's representative, Diane de Jersey, can be contacted on 020 8805 6578, and the chairman of ETN, Phillip Dawson, can be reached on 07843 445 963.
The next Enfield Vision Forum meeting on Monday the 1st of September has had to be cancelled. This is due to the caretaker not being available at the Park Avenue Disability Centre. The next meeting will be from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Monday the 6th of October.
If you're experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is, as we said before, your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. Now Sonia will read the first item of local news.
A Veterans Association is furious that a new war memorial will not be placed in the centre of Enfield. The Suez Veterans Association was hoping to see a memorial to commemorate those who have died in battles since the Second World War placed at the heart of the borough. However, the disgruntled group has expressed its disappointment after discovering the memorial is destined to be placed in Albany Park, to the east of the borough. Association member John Mitchell of Hanbury Drive in Winchmore Hill fought in the Suez Crisis in Egypt during the 1950s and told the Enfield Independent of his discontent about the decision. He said, "The association is very disappointed that the memorial is not going to be in the centre of the town where it belongs." Gina Needs, of the Friends of Albany Park, said, "The park's connection with both world wars means it is a suitable place for the memorial. I think it would be fantastic to have a memorial here on this side of a borough, so as those living locally would be able to pay their respects." Councillor Chris Bond, Cabinet Member for Environment, said, "We wanted to put the memorial on Chase Green, but that was turned down by Friends of the Green. It is very difficult to have it at the Civic Centre because we already have a number of memorials there, and this is going to be a very large and detailed tribute to those who have fought after the Second World War. Having the memorial at Albany Park means that we have a memorial in all corners of the borough. The Friends at Albany Park are very keen to have the memorial. All parties want the same thing, and that is to commemorate the people who have lost their lives in battle since 1945. Enfield North MP Nick Dubois admitted he was disappointed at the selection of Albany Park. He said, "It's disappointing that the council's initial support for this memorial now seems to be turning into only lukewarm support."
A head teacher has admitted that seeing her pupils get their GCSE results is the real thrill of being a teacher. Dr. Susan Tranter, head teacher at Edmonton County School in Great Cambridge Road, watched her pupils opening their brown envelopes last Thursday. She told the Enfield Independent, "We have had some phenomenal results, with 70% achieving A star to C in maths, 90% in science, and 25% of pupils getting 3 or more A stars. One of those fueling the A star boom at the school was Akin Tazar, 16, who received 6 A stars, 3 A's and 2 B's. Other impressive results at Edmonton County included Ohid Islam, 16, who achieved 7 A stars and 2 A's. Not to be outdone, Nasimul Mohammed Islam, no relation, gained 8 stars, A stars, an A and 2 B's. Dr. Tranter added, "It is the real thrill of being ahead to see all the pupils open their envelopes and see how amazingly they have done. We have really encouraged pupils to take part in additional classes, to go the extra mile with their results, and that hard work has paid off. Elsewhere, students at Bishop Stortford in Brick Lane, Enfield, celebrated the school's best ever GCSE results, with more than 70% achieving 5 or more A star to C, including English and Maths. 1 in 5 of all grades was at A star, twice the national average, with top performers at the school including Fong Yi Pun, who got no less than 11 A stars, and, as with Gifty Brown, Hannah Parr, Jessica Poku Powell, and Rishabh Rawat getting 10 A stars to A's. Palmer's Green High School in Hoppers Road achieved 72% A star to A's, with 98% of pupils getting A star to C. It was a special day for Felicia de Souza of St Anne's School in Oakthorpe Road, who managed to get 10 A stars.
North Middlesex University Hospital has been swamped with patients and is struggling to cope in the wake of the Chase Farm downgrade, according to a new report. In a report published last Thursday, the Care Quality Commission revealed that dead bodies were being stored in temporary fridges in the hospital in Stirling Way, Edmonton, as the morgue infrastructure was stretched to breaking point. The report added that managers were being forced to firefight issues rather than planning for the future, ever since the controversial closure of Chase Farm Hospital's A&E unit in December. And in yet another indictment of the hospital's ability to cope with the increased volume of patients, Conservative MP for Enfield Southgate, David Burrows, has revealed that he was left writhing in agony on a trolley in the North Middlesex A&E department for more than 12 hours. The MP was rushed to the hospital at 5:30 a.m. on June the 2nd after collapsing in pain. He was told that within a few hours he would get a CT scan. However, instead he was left on a trolley in a cramped cubicle for 6 hours before doctors realised he had not been logged onto the system properly. After finally taking down for his scan at 5:30 p.m, 12 hours after he had collapsed in pain, he was given a scan and told he had acute appendicitis, which is a potentially fatal condition. When he was operated on at 2 p.m. the following day, it was discovered he had a gangrenous, perforated appendix. This is not about the fact that I had to lie there for 12 hours. This is about my constituents. I do not want other people having to endure what I had to go through, he said. If this is what it was like in summer, what on earth will it be like in the depths of winter? A North Middlesex spokesman said, "We have apologised to David for the time it took to confirm his diagnosis. It did take longer than usual, but he was safe throughout." Responding to the points made in the CQC report, a spokesman from the Trust said it was drawing up action plans to improve on the areas flagged up by the CQC. Chief Executive Julie Lowe added, "We welcome the news that we are close to achieving the rating of good." However, Aliv Kazimoglu of Enfield Council's Overview and Scrutiny Panel issued a warning over the capacities of the hospital and said, "Our local NHS really cannot sustain further cuts without enduring patient care."
Well, that's all right then, if they've apologised. Good grief. A business group is providing free weekly career clinics during September for unemployed people seeking help to find work. Following the success of an event in July during which managers from the Ponders End branch of Tesco spoke to job hunters about working for an international company, Enterprise Enfield, based in Hertford Road, Enfield Highway, will run weekly career clinics with advice from multinational businesses. The clinics are due to take place on the first 3 Fridays of September, with each comprising a morning and an afternoon session. The morning sessions will be held from 10 a.m. to noon and will offer assistance with online job searches, improving CVs, and completing application forms. The afternoon sessions from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. will be hosted by representatives from businesses including IKEA, Barclays and Waits, who will talk about career paths and recruitment processes. Enfield Business and Retailers Association's Town Centre Manager Mark Rudling told the Advertiser, "Anything we can do to encourage businesses to invest in Enfield and its people is fantastic. I'm very supportive of this Enfield Enterprise scheme." The Careers Clinic form part of Enfield Enterprise's free employability support programs, which are funded partly by the European Social Fund and Enfield Council, and supported by London councils. Enterprise Enfield is a not-for-profit training organisation dedicated to helping people start out in business.
A teenager has sparked outrage after dunking his puppy in freezing water as part of a charity challenge. A shocking video, believed to be filmed in Edmonton, shows the boy plunging his puppy into a bucket of water as part of the Ice Bucket Challenge, which has taken off on social media. The clip, which was posted online, shows the boy performing the stunt, and he tells viewers his dog would like to nominate all the other dogs here and all the cats as well. Yay. Infuriated by the footage, protesters have begun an online petition with more than 2,500 people calling for the boy to be prosecuted for animal cruelty. The ice bucket craze has been taken up by millions across the globe, including famous celebrities, in order to raise awareness for the ALS, Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Association, otherwise known as motor neurone disease. An RSPCA spokesman said, "The RSPCA is aware of this incident and are now investigating. Anyone with information should contact the RSPCA in confidence on 0300 123 8018. The aim of the Ice Bucket Challenge is to raise money and awareness for charity. This stunt goes against everything it stands for. Any responsible pet owner would be shocked by this. It is likely that the puppy in the footage could have been caused distress, if not harm, and we are very concerned that others would think this is appropriate. Causing unnecessary suffering to an animal is an offence under law, and we would strongly urge people not to copy this video."
Trees which were chopped down by vandals in an overnight raid on a memorial garden will not be replaced, as the council regards them unofficial horticulture. The raiders chopped down 13 conifer trees that encircle a memorial bench in Enfield Town Park, leaving the felled branches in the park in an act of vandalism rather than theft. Although council officers swooped on the scene to clear up the debris, police and council chiefs have revealed that the trees will not be replaced as they were planted unofficially by a guerrilla gardener who did not have planning permission to plant the originals. Cabinet member for the Environment, Chris Bond, admitted that it was a real shame that the trees had been axed by vandals, but added, "If everyone went around planting trees, there would be mayhem."
No, there'd be a forest.
An artist is appealing for help to save a sculpture she made of a giant brain. The enormous artwork, which is currently next to the Alliance Club in Summers Lane, Finchley, now risks being tossed into a skip and destroyed unless a volunteer comes forward to save it. The artist, known only as Lady M and lives in Cockfosters, designed the 12-foot by 10-foot polystyrene monument as part of an exhibition for a central London gallery. When it was over, She was determined her handiwork would not go to waste, so when Alliance bar staff agreed to house it in the woods next to the club, it was a no-brainer. But unbeknown to her, the bar did not have a licence, and a group of people set up camp inside the brain. When Barnet Borough Council discovered the skullduggery, they put a stop to it by closing the bar and evicting the squatters. But after nobody came forward to claim the brain, the authority was forced to surround it with fences and install CCTV cameras in the area. Now, Lady M had received an expression of interest in the artwork, and she looks to secure its future. The 50-year-old said, "At the moment, it's caved and has been left to rot. It seems ridiculous. I had no idea it wasn't a licensed bar, otherwise I would never have donated it to them. I'm really devastated by this. Even though it doesn't belong to me anymore, it has a lot of merit, and I'm upset that people I gave it to abandoned my brain in this way. I'm honoured the council think my work was good enough to be kept, but unfortunately I don't have the space myself to keep it inside my home or garden."
Well, that sounded like 50 Shades of Grey matter. Sorry, couldn't resist that. A woman was taken to hospital after being resuscitated following a house fire. More than 30 firefighters tackled the blaze in Sweetbriar Green, Edmonton, rescuing a woman from the first floor of the house. The woman was taken to hospital by London Ambulance Service after being resuscitated outside her home, and 6 fire engines from Tottenham, Enfield, Southgate and Walthamstow attended the fire, which took place between 10 a.m. and 1:40 p.m. on Saturday.
The leader of the biggest pensioners organisation in the country has said politicians cannot rely on their votes when the general election arrives next year. Dot Gibson, leader of National Pensioners Convention, was due to speak at an open invitation meeting organised by Enfield Over 50s Forum at the Civic Centre in Silver Street yesterday. Ahead of the event, she said, "All the major parties need to realise that they cannot take the pensioners' vote for granted. We need to see cast iron pledges from politicians that properly address the concerns we have before we give them our votes. The idea that the country's economy is struggling because an army of millionaire pensioners are joyriding with their free bus passes is absolute nonsense. The truth is, there are just 250,000 higher tax rate pensioners in Britain, around 5 million paying at the standard rate, and 6 million whose income is so low that they don't pay any tax. That's why we'll be saying, hands off universal pensioner benefits."
10 disabled workers have found permanent jobs after taking part in a car washing scheme. People with a range of disabilities ran a social enterprise car wash for Enfield Borough Council at Palace Gardens multi-storey car park in Enfield. Employment specialist CTEC worked with the council to set the project up in May, and the first 10 staff brought in by Future Clean Systems have gone on to find permanent work. Councillor Chris Bond, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, said, "I am delighted to hear that Future Clean has secured work for its first 10 employees. This scheme, which forms part of the Enfield 2020 Action Plan for Sustainability, has so many benefits. Not only is it helping disabled people into employment, but it is also encouraging people in our town centre whilst using environmentally friendly materials to clean the cars. Now that these lucky 10 employees have moved on after finding permanent work through the Future Clean scheme, it means we can fill these vacancies with more people and train them for work. It is an incredibly popular scheme, so when in Enfield Town, why not pop in and get your car washed?"
A woman is battling for answers after her husband was left severely ill following an operation 7 years ago. Alexander Carradise went into hospital in 2007 after waking up with a headache, Following an operation to stop a bleed on his brain, which resulted in swelling, a shunt was inserted to drain fluid from his body. He was later discharged from Chase Farm Hospital in the Ridgeway, Enfield. But Mr. Caradice's wife Claudette claims that she was left without a care plan for her husband when he returned home. As a result, she says his health has deteriorated, leaving him with a medical condition that means he cannot control his body temperature. Mr. Caradice now needs daily visits from nurses, but his wife believes that if a care plan had been put in place when he was discharged, his condition would not be so bad. Mrs. Caradice said, "We did not receive a care plan whatsoever when he first left Chase Farm, and we have had to learn about his condition as it has got worse and worse. There is no explanation as to why he wasn't given a care plan. It has been very stressful for us all." Mr. Caradice was left suffering from diabetes insipidus, a condition leaving him with no thirst, and type 2 diabetes. He has been in and out of Barnet Hospital in Wellhouse Lane on numerous occasions, with the hospital putting together a care plan in recent months. Mrs. Caradice paid homage to Barnet Hospital, but has been left infuriated by the lack of answers from Chase Farm. She said, "I don't know where we would be without Barnet Hospital. They have given us a care plan, which means he undergoes a blood test every week to check his sodium levels." A spokesman for Royal Free Trust, which has taken over the running of Chase Farm Hospital, said, "The Royal Free London NHS Foundation Trust takes any complaint about its care for patients very seriously. We have looked into issues raised by Mrs. Caradice about her husband's care and wrote to her in some detail in early July to apologise for what happened earlier and to explain the care arrangements that have since been put in place."
Well, just in case you get your tape in time, which I hope you will do, in Broomfield Park at the bandstand on Sunday the 31st of August from 1:30 to 5:30, a local band called Professor Redhair bring their take on New Orleans styles of Dr. John and Professor Longhair, along with some great piano and guitar work and outstanding vocals. And just to prove that the blues is safe in our hands, one of London's finest young blues bands, the Blues Chapter, take us home with Searing Texas Blues in the style of Stevie Ray Vaughan. So that's Sunday at the bandstand in Broomfield Park, August 31st, 1:30 to 5:30.